Thank y'all for watching Persistent Bosses. Happy New Year. We are in Houma, Louisiana. We got this nice map right behind you. We are a remote traveling podcast show. So if you're ever thinking about being a guest, don't feel like you're obligated to wait for me to reach out. Please reach out to me if it's something you want to do. Now, my first guest, so special. So whenever I'm looking for guests on my show, I love problem solving. I absolutely love someone who solves a problem, not just for themselves, but for everyone. This show is all about interviewing people who overcome the obstacles, overcome the objections and the rejections, and we celebrate the wins. But remember, the doubters love to hate our show. Why? We're going to talk about the wins, but they're going to envy the wins. Whenever you're doing well and you grow with your business, some of the things that are going to happen is that you're going to have a lot of people admire you, be inspired, want to do things like you, but you're going to have some that can't quite find that niche and they may be a little negative. But today, I hope that they're going to learn something from my next guest. So today I'm going to welcome Jennifer Ledet. I do want to point out about Jennifer. She is all about leadership. She's all about teaching people about it's by choice. It's not by chance. What you decide to do is what actions will play out. When you think leadership and culture, you have to understand you're not just teaching someone to be in command, to be that captain. You're teaching someone to have other people want to follow them, to want to produce more leaders. It's all about growth. So again, I am so excited for what we're going to learn from her today. So Jennifer, if you don't mind, I'm going to come out and just say it. If someone was meeting you for the first time, who is Jennifer Ledet?
Oh, that's a loaded question. Are you ready? So I am a speaker and coach and facilitator and author. I started out my professional life as an HR director and eventually left my professional role to stay home and raise kids. And when my youngest went to kindergarten, I thought I need to figure out a way to make this work because I came to realize that as much as I admire HR, it wasn't a great fit for me. Mm-hmm. The irony of it all is that I was the kid, and you probably relate to this, that got in trouble for talking too much. Okay. Well, I get the last laugh because now I get paid to talk.
That's right. That's right.
So that's what I do. I work with organizations, help executive leadership teams to all row in the same direction. Because a lot of times they're not. A lot of times they're pulling against one another. And more in the last few years, I've begun working with women leaders and helping them to realize that they're not just locked in to what society tells them is their role or what success looks like. And actually, we each get to define success for ourselves. And I come at this because I come at this from experience and from my own lived experience. So it's a lot of fun. I love what I get to do. I love the people that I work with.
So I want to mention this. How I met you was actually at ABWA. If you're not a part of a networking group like that, highly recommend. It's women getting together, women learning about each other, how they can help. Jennifer, as soon as she stood up, that 30 seconds was so eye-catchy. And it was memorable because you knew this wasn't a selling pitch. This was a delivery of this is how I execute. As you're talking about, everything about you and answer my question, there's a quote that came to mind. If it's your calling, it's going to keep calling. Mm-hmm. And did you feel like that when your daughter, your youngest went to kindergarten, you're like, I've done this role, but I feel like I need to do something still within that. Yeah. That atmosphere. So why were you attracted to go back into leadership? Because your kids are all in school and you're so talented. You probably could have done anything else.
Well, the thing of it is that I'm a person of faith, and I believe that we were each given gifts, and we're expected to use those gifts to bless and to serve others, for one thing. And so that's why I started pursuing this. I did consulting work, which led to training, got 1 million certifications under my belt, which just means I'm certifiable. Okay. Don't be impressed. But I got certified as a trainer, and one thing led to another, and eventually got my CSP, which is Certified Speaking Professional from NSA, National Speakers Association. And you were just saying how important it is to go to networking events and that kind of thing. I can't stress that enough because it is lonely at the top. And
No doubt.
you need to have people who are at the same level or close to your level to be able to talk through things, to be able to know you're not the only one dealing with that kind of stuff. It made all the difference in the world in my life. I can't even begin to tell you. I've been in mastermind groups with other speakers, other leaders. I have created mastermind groups that I bring in leaders to. From people from all over the country. And especially this all really began for me during COVID. I've spoken for Amazon many times, and for each of those events, we had thousands of women globally online with us during those programs. And to know that they're not the only ones dealing with these challenges, and the feedback I got was incredible. So, being around other people who are doing what you're doing can be really, really valuable. Otherwise, it's very lonely at the top.
Do you feel sometimes, and I'm just talking about corporations, do you think sometimes it's not that this person's a bad leader, just another person had to step in, like another voice? It's almost like if I tell my child ABC, do it this way, but if another voice comes in and says
for sure,
the teacher, it's executed differently.
Yeah.
I've always told my kids, I love it when you go to someone's house and I get compliments on how well you behave, how well you cleaned up after yourself. Where was that at home, right?
Exactly.
But the proof is they do know how to conduct themselves.
Yeah.
So my next question for you, because we're talking about women, we're talking about leadership. Do you find women struggle the most with leadership?
I think women have traditionally struggled more, and there are a lot of things that come into play, and it's rarely for lack of skill. Okay. It's more about mindset and confidence, and perception. So, the thing of it is we can't control circumstances. We all know about that.
I know.
Here,
I know.
I'm from Thibodeau. We're in Houma. We were hit hard by Hurricane Ida. We've still got lots that's not recovered from that. We can't control circumstances. The only thing we can control is how we respond. And I'm using that word intentionally because respond is different than react.
100%.
And so a lot of times what I do is work with women to help them to understand the choices that they have in how they respond. That makes all the difference.
Do you think just because if you have a male leader, sometimes it's not that the response is different, but maybe a female leader is just a little bit less confident with the men? And what am I saying is, look, I've been in sales 20 years. Sometimes not all men, I'm not every male owner's cup of tea is what I mean. Some of them are not ready for that female that's going to be that leader.
Yeah.
It's a power struggle.
Yeah.
I see it a lot. So if you have a female leader that tells you, I feel like the men in my organization don't respect me as well as the women, that is a coaching moment.
Yeah.
That's not you did anything wrong. It's a coaching moment because sometimes is the problem really there or is the problem here?
Right. Well, and the thing of it is that women are traditionally more collaborative. Mm-hmm. They communicate very well typically, and they're much more, they're going to be much better at increasing engagement with your employees and with your team. They're going to be better at team building. The thing of it is we need that more than ever.
Right.
So what I coach my women leaders is to lean into those feminine skills. Look, let me tell you, nothing against style or fashion or anything, but when I started out, we were trying to wear the shoulder pads to make ourselves more masculine for whatever reason.
Right.
And the thing of it is that I always was one that wanted to wear a dress and be real feminine. And I had someone tell me one time, but you are feminine. So why are you shying away from that?
Right.
What the point is that instead of trying to be more like the men, we need to lean into our femininity because teams and organizations need what we have to offer.
Right.
And when we can present ourselves and we can show up in that way where we can show why I'm acting the way I'm acting, why I'm presenting this in the way I'm presenting it, it's because we want to build a more collaborative, more inclusive, more engaged culture and a more engaged organization. When you're talking about sales, you want to be able to engage with all different kinds of people. So it's about being intentional in how you show up. I think women, I come from experience, we get all up in our heads.
Right.
And we're so worried about what other people think about us. And the truth is, they ain't thinking about you at all. They thinking about themselves. Right. So we need to get over that and really lean into and be intentional in how we show up. So when we can tune into the other person, we can pick up on their energy and what's going on behind the scenes for them. Asking some engaging questions that show true interest, not just self-interest, not just getting to the point of what you want, but rather finding out what's going on with them, being interested. You know, Dale Carnegie always said it's better to be more interested than trying to be interesting.
Oh, what a great quote.
Well, I paraphrase, but
because when you're trying to be interested, you're just trying to impress people.
Yeah.
And if you're not true to yourself, people are going to see past that.
Exactly.
You know, when I'm working with somebody, and you'll relate to this, you do leadership coaching, I do sales coaching.
Yeah.
The hardest part of my job is the conversations.
Yeah.
It's the reality conversations. Mm-hmm. I don't want to tell someone they're doing something wrong, but the reality is there's a reason why you called me in. Mm-hmm. And when I point out, this is what I'm seeing and this is how we're going to fix it, I'll get that little standoffish feeling. I'm like, but remember, that's why I was called in. So when you're doing leadership, let's say an owner calls you in to train his 5 managers on leadership. Mm-hmm. How do you handle the tough conversations? Because there's always one that's like, I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. I just don't want to say it.
Oh, girl. We just, it's about rolling up your sleeves and dialing down your ego. So this is one of the things, this is my sweet spot. This is what I'm really good at because we'll get into, I call them the crunchy conversations.
That's right.
Where there's something underneath the surface, something beneath the surface, and I can tease it out. And we have some of the teams that I've worked with, you talking about women in male-dominated industries. We're in oil and gas country, so I've done a lot of work with all male teams, or they might have their token woman on the team. I'm talking the C-suite, the leadership team, and we go there. And it's amazing what a transformation can happen. And I'm not trying to take credit for it. I give them full credit for being willing to play full out.
Right.
And
absolutely.
And that's the thing. What the result that we'll get to is that they're more loyal, they're more engaged, they're more accountable to not just to their boss, but to each other. So one of the things we know is that if a leader is not willing to call somebody out on the team that's not performing or not doing what they said they were going to do, then nobody else is going to do it either. Because they're like, why should I stick my neck out if the boss is not going to tell them I'm not doing anything? But once you make a commitment to each other, and once they see that the leader will call them out if need be, then he often doesn't have to, because they will call each other out. But it won't be like calling them out. It'll be like, hey, Lisa, I know you were going to get that report done by Tuesday. Is something going on? Is there something I can help you with? And you need support with that. It's more of a caring concern than it is you didn't do what you were supposed to do.
Well, that comes off harsh. So would you say, I mean, it's advertised, you do leadership, you teach confidence, you teach making choices. But it sounds like you teach communication.
Oh, absolutely.
At the very top.
Communication is a ginormous
Is that usually the main problem?
The main problem, to be really honest, is trust.
Okay.
Trust is the foundation of every single relationship you have.
Can't communicate if you don't have proper trust.
And you're not going to communicate if you don't have trust. So it's almost like a framework where we start with trust as the foundation. Trust is built one brick at a time. Mm-hmm. And it can also come tumbling down all at once with one breach. So that's really crucial. And when I talk leadership, trust, it's also about being willing to say, oh, I screwed that up. I'm sorry. Accountability. Being willing to own your mistakes. Being willing to say, I messed that up. How can I make it right? When you do that, you don't lose trust. You build trust. Because people are like, oh, she's human too. Because nobody believes you're perfect. I mean, you might be trying to show that you're perfect, but ain't nobody believing that. I'm
going to make you laugh. So, and I don't want to relate this to what I do in sales. But years ago, I was,
it's all connected though.
Years ago, I was hired to take care of some accounts that weren't happy. Let's just say that. And I walked in an account and, when someone's unhappy, they don't let it all out. Mm-hmm. They want to be heard. So I let her be heard. And she just kept coming at me and I just let her calm down. And I said with a very nice voice, I said, look, business owner to business owner, you're not perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm sure we both have that one customer we did not make happy. And I bet if that customer came back to you, you would give it 150%. Mm-hmm. I'm just asking for the same opportunity.
Nice.
And do you know, she actually she didn't take a step back, but she kind of breathed.
Yeah.
She didn't know this, but I looked at her testimonials on Yelp before I walked in. I do my research. Not that I want to put that on her, but I have to remind myself, this company is not perfect. No one is. We have to learn. But after I said that, she got quiet. I said again, I wasn't that sales rep. I wasn't in charge of your account. I am here for this opportunity, but I can't show you what's better unless I receive it.
Yeah.
And I have to say, as we're talking, I'm hearing the trust. I'm hearing communication, but I just heard accountability.
Yep.
And I say this often. Accountability is not a talent. It's a skill. It demands practice. Do you feel like when you're doing leadership training, you're teaching them accountability as well? I feel like a lot of people put that on their resume. They don't even know what it means.
I tell people the 4 most important phrases in life and business and in life are get your notepads ready. Okay. This is really groundbreaking stuff. Please. Mm-hmm. Thank you. I'm sorry. And this one's really tough for a lot of leaders. I don't know.
Oh, that's.
They are so terrified of saying, I don't know. When you say, I don't know, you show you're human.
That's right.
No, you don't just drop it there. You say, I don't know, but I'm going to find out. Mm-hmm. I don't know, but let's find the answer together. I don't know, but we need to work on this. There's nothing wrong with saying that. Nobody believes you're perfect. And the more you try to pretend, the more you erode trust. When you show that you're human, you build trust. Because the thing of it is, you're nobody, like my mama would say, people can spot a phony baloney a mile away. So you're not fooling anybody.
You're not fooling anyone.
And I think it builds that relationship.
Well, I can see where that would hurt leadership, because if you feel like your leader is not real, which means he's not going to communicate real, he's not going to hold you to a standard real, it trickles down.
Absolutely. And if this isn't real, then how do I know that that's real, what he just said or she just said? So it builds in that doubt and that distrust. So I think it's hugely important that we be human. And I see you got a funny story.
Well, because we're both moms, I have to bring this up. As we're talking, I'm thinking of my children.
Yeah.
Like my middle child, Alana, one time Liam, my 20-year-old, this is years ago, did something. And she said, oh, but when Liam did it, he didn't get in trouble. But now I'm getting in trouble. I can't even tell you what it is, but it reminds me of my children paying attention and holding me to a standard. Oh, when Liam got a C, you were like, okay, but when I get a C, I'm losing my phone. It was something like that. But that's why I'm smiling, because as moms, I can see where as a parent, I'm constantly being watched as that leader, not just that mom.
Yeah.
And they're holding me to a standard.
Absolutely.
And look, she needs to go to law school because she had a great argument. And I'm like, well, you're right. Now, is my at the time, my 20-year-old was 15. He is dyslexic. I was very happy with that C, trust me. But
Different
to a
kids.
child, she doesn't see that.
Yeah.
She's like, I busted my butt. My teacher,
Right.
gave me a lot. She was in honors and she just felt like I'm going to plead my case.
Right.
I shouldn't be in trouble.
Right.
But I see how, he's 3 years older than her. So think about it. That's something she saw and remembered.
She remembered it.
And you find with staff, they remember those moments too.
They do. And it's important for a leader to be willing to have a I call them crunchy conversations because to me, that's what they are.
I'll never forget. You actually need to go get like candy bars.
Yes, let's have a crunchy conversation.
With your
good
logo
idea.
and be like, all right, get ready for the crunchy conversation. Throw it on the table.
That. I love it. But being willing to do that, because guess what? We're all human beings. There may be something going on with somebody.
That's right.
Don't immediately come down on anybody for non-performance, because I think COVID taught us all that we're all human.
That's right.
And listen, the hundreds and thousands of people that I work with each year, everybody's dealing with something. I teach a way of communication. I use a tool called DISC, which is behavioral preferences. It's powerful. It's amazing. I use
I've done DISC.
I use it with executive teams all the way to
you probably already know which one I meant, but keep going.
A long time ago. But I use it because it's so powerful, and it's very powerful in sales and service. And I teach people. I won't allow them to just take the profile unless we're going to do some coaching around it or a training around it so they can understand how to use the tool that it is. And, I also, in the context of those same workshops, I'll say, look, DISC tells you about behavior, but what it doesn't tell you, and I'll do my pitiful effort of drawing an iceberg on a flip chart. And what you see above the surface of the water is about 20% of that iceberg. And there's about 80% that you're not unable to see. So what we need to do, and I'll ask everybody, what is above the surface of the water that you can see in a person? And they'll talk about their appearance, their posture, their blah, 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 all this. And then we don't have enough room to put all the things that are beneath the surface that we're not able to see. So what is the moral of the story? Give people some grace, because you do not know their whole story. This is very important to understand their tendencies and how they communicate, how they sell, what's the best way to delegate to them, what's the best way to inspire them. We can't motivate other people because they're already motivated for their own reasons. What we can do is tap into that motivation that's already there and inspire them. But that's not the whole story of that person. So we need to remember that tying it back to your sales and everything, I know when I'm talking with a prospect that I'm not the only thing they've got going on in their day, in their lives. So I am going to be more persistent, pun intended, because I know that they've got a lot on their plate,
I think it's great. I love that you did the whole DISC example because, of course, they told me I was a high D.
Yes.
Absolutely. But I do want to say this. Learning that I'm a high D, I've learned about my eye contact, my level of speaking. Because like I told you, I'll approach some people and it's not that they dislike me. I could just be overwhelming. Yeah. But I understand that. In my early years, because I was hustling, I was trying to close, I used to get so offended, like, oh, that person doesn't like me. Oh, that person dodges me. But then I realized it was all about the first impression.
Yeah.
And when I train people, you'll laugh, but I'll have someone say, well, Lisa, I'm an extrovert. I'm not as outgoing. Extroverts are great appointment setters.
Yeah.
Introverts are going to be my great talkers, my great closers. But the game is, when do you stop talking?
Yeah.
You have to know how to be a good listener.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something you teach. If there's any message I got on this podcast today, you believe in a system.
Yes, I do. And I'm just like everybody else, though. The fortune is in the follow-up. So I have to remind myself that I have to continue to follow up. You'll appreciate this. My last newsletter, the topic was the 4 words I'm banishing in 2026. And one of them, and this comes back to what I noticed with women in particular, is the word just.
Right.
Oh, I'm just following up. I just want to make sure the check is in the mail. No, boo. No.
There you go.
You don't minimize your request, because what you're doing is you're diminishing yourself and you're putting them up here and yourself down here.
You don't sound important.
You don't.
You sound like you're last minute.
And you sound like, please, sir, may I have another? Like you're a little poor beggar child. No, you approach them like a peer, like an adult, like your colleagues, and you say, I'm checking in to see where you are with this project. How's the progress going? What can I provide as far as more information, answers, or whatever it is they might need? But those kinds of things are important when you're following up, because you don't want them to think of themselves above and you below. You're equals.
I think following up shows persistence, which receives attention.
Yeah.
Now, consistency is what you have to do to keep that customer, but being persistent is how you get their attention.
Yeah.
So here's a great thing for, we're talking about sales. You are great at what you do, but you're always looking for new clients.
Sure.
Is your company mostly referrals, or do you solicit in your own way?
Oh, such a good question. So mostly referrals, but like I was telling you before we started recording, I'm working on a new keynote for this year. So what I'll do is I'll reach out to some conferences that I know are going to be coming up in, say, late spring, and usually like spring and falls when a lot of conferences are happening, and let them know I have this new keynote. And people will bring me back year after year.
That's awesome.
A lot of times they will say, and I totally get it, that they want different speakers the next year. If I'll hit a home run and they'll bring me back the next year. And especially when I show the feedback from people that say, we need to have her again. But a lot of times they want someone new. So what I do is I have a whole group of speaker friends. So I'll recommend a speaker friend to them, someone that's going to be appropriate for the group that I know is going to do a great job. And then I am doing a couple of things there. I'm making my friend happy. I am helping the client get a speaker, which can be difficult because they want a recommendation. They don't want just sight unseen. And then they'll remember me as a resource. So they'll come back to me in a couple years. And that's what happens a lot.
I think another reason they come back to you is because your creativity. I'm a speaker as well. And I will tell you, I've done, last year I probably did.
You do a great job.
I must have did 13 different seminars, but I have people who follow me to seminars.
Yeah.
You can't say the same thing. The message can be the same,
yeah,
but the execution has to be taught differently. So when you get asked to speak again, that is a huge compliment.
Yeah.
Because they know if the same audience loves Jennifer, they're going to love your message, but they're going to love the new execution. Yeah. Because not every way we teach is going to work for everyone in the audience. So when you do conferences, that's a good way for you to get your name out and to get leads, correct? A follow-up system. I always ask people about their follow-up system. I know you said you're going to improve on it.
Yes,
but
always.
When you follow up with someone, are you an email? Are you a phone call person? How do you keep in touch with the customer?
The way that I do it, and if I'm really following my own system, when in the weeks and months leading up to the conference, let's say, they're all about me. We're communicating, we're going back and forth, and all of that. After the conference, I'm dead to them. I'm just dead to them. They're like, Jennifer, who? What? Because they're on to the next thing, and I get it.
Yeah.
So what I do is before the conference, I say, get your calendar out. I need to get your feedback. I want to continue to improve.
That is so smart.
So I'm on their calendar with a Zoom link before the event for as soon after the event as we can get it on the calendar. And that way I'm guaranteed to have that meeting. I get their feedback, but I also, sometimes, not all the time, depends on the group, but I have a system where I collect their feedback in the moment, the audience's feedback. So I'm able to give that meeting planner a report that says 100% satisfaction. These were the comments. These are the feedback. These are the testimonials that they typed in the moment. So that's huge. And that also leads to, so how else can I work with you in the next year? Associations might want to go deeper and do some workshops throughout the year. We'll do virtual workshops, that kind of thing. With women's groups, speaking for women's conferences, that's one of the things I want to do more of. So those women are typically coming from all different organizations. I've done a couple of these leadership roundtables with women's leadership roundtables within associations, or using the framework from my book. And what'll happen is they contact me, individual organizations, companies from that association will contact me. Now I'm doing women's retreats for their company. So it's wonderful, but it doesn't just happen, and it doesn't just, fall into place. I have to kind of be intentional about it, which is the whole point of the book. So,
but I can tell you, everything you just said to me showed me confidence, creativity, and experience. Why wouldn't a company want to hire you? It's beyond me.
Well, and experience. Look, I have so much content for days. I mean, days and days and days. So,
but that's your passion.
It is my
when
passion.
You're passionate, the creativity never ends.
Yeah, and let me tell you, just like I'm saying today, that everything I do is coming from experience. I tell some really embarrassing stories in my talks, but people love it. And I will never say that I'm funny. I'll say that I'm fun, but saying I'm funny is too much pressure. Like, I don't want that kind of pressure. Don't come in expecting me to be funny, but we will have fun. You will be engaged. Actually, when you and I met, I spoke in that same room for a different association, the week before. Okay. Or was it the day before? I'm trying to remember. And the overwhelming people said, I saw you were going to be speaking, and that's why I needed to come. I knew I needed to come because I heard you speak at blah, blah, blah. You tell the best stories. And the thing is,
it's relatable.
It's relatable because you know what? I've made all the mistakes. I made the good ones twice, and so I think it helps people to feel like, well, if she can start out that way, and I'm honest about the things. And my friends think it's hilarious that I get paid to talk because they know I was going to talk anyway.
You also get paid to be an author. And
yes.
I do want to mention, please go on Amazon. She has great books that are out. Please go on LinkedIn. She always does videos. She could put you on her newsletter. She is someone you want to learn from. But I want her to talk a little bit about her new book.
Yeah. It's Live and Lead by Choice, Not by Chance. Flourish at any age, stage, and season of life. And this, y'all, is life coaching in a book. So I poured heart and soul into this book. It's a lot of what I use and work with my coaching clients on and around. And lots of stories in here as well. And the thing of it is that you can open it up at any point and really get some good nuggets out of it. I know we live in a busy world and you don't have time for, sitting down and reading a book cover to cover necessarily, and that's okay. But I had a lot of fun putting this together. I also had a lot of life happen while this was going on. So it was delayed a little bit in the publishing. And what ended up happening is that it came out right before the holidays last year. So I have been blown away by the number of people who bought multiple copies to give as gifts.
I'm not even surprised.
So it ended up, as most things end up, being a blessing in disguise that it was delayed. But it is something I felt like God kind of tapped me on the shoulder, not to be dramatic, but this was one thing that I felt really inspired to do. And so if I wrote this doggone book, I'm like, I'm not hiding it under a bush or somewhere. I'm getting it out there.
But this copy is mine.
That is yours.
This is my copy. So you have to go order your own.
I will inscribe it to you. But it did become an Amazon bestseller. I'm very, very proud of that, and still selling it. And it's become part of the participant materials when I do any of these workshops.
But it shows everything that I'm basically going over, because when people buy on Amazon, you get reviews. Yeah. You have people that talk, people that recommend. What an amazing career you have built, and you're not done.
No, I'm not done.
This is awesome. I want to thank Jennifer again for being here on the show. Please go to my YouTube channel. It's under Nola's Favorite Solicitor. That's where all my videos are. Please like and subscribe. I'll be happy for a follow. Please, Jennifer, go to LinkedIn. She is on LinkedIn. She has her own social media, but let's all support each other and grow and learn. And again, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Lisa. It's been so much fun.